How you doing, guys? I'm Sean. You're very welcome to this channel. Guys, today's video we're going to be talking about the importance of having role models or heroes in your life. Now, everybody's going to have a different viewpoint on what a role model is. And some people can literally look at one person and expect to love every single section of that person's life and turn around and say, well, you know, this person has to be so perfect, that's a role model. Well, I don't necessarily agree with that. Certainly we can, you know, look at people and we try to get the whole package, but we'll never really get to know the whole person. So rather than, I say, wasting energy going out and trying to find that perfect person, that perfect role model, to me, looking for a role model is somebody who's going to inspire and to empower you. Then you can actually sit and look at them and say, do you know what, I actually like what I see of that person, maybe male or female, it could be a sports personality or anything like that. You don't have to necessarily look into their whole life, but just actually somebody who you're going to look up to inspire. My first role model was my father, my dad, and role model in life and in death. He's a hero of mine. But I wonder who yours is, and have you got any role models, and why have you chosen them? Do you know what I mean? Like, this is actually like a motivational life coaching channel. So three people, I have a lot of role models, but three people that I could rhyme off. I thought about this, who am I going to include? It doesn't make these three people any better or any more important than the probably the 20, 30 other key players that I would actually have in my life that's going to inspire and empower me at different sections of my journey. But three people would come straight to mind when I'm thinking of who's really inspired and empowered me in my journey and to turn my life around from like being a rock bottom to where I am now, and I'm on an amazing journey. I'm certainly nowhere near to where I want to go, but let me tell you, where I am now in my life, I think it's a fantastic place, both mentally, spiritually and physically. But the key player would be Tony Robbins. I got introduced to Tony Robbins probably about 8, 9 years ago, and got one of his box sets, and that was my first introduction to hearing Tony Robbins and talk. If you're not familiar with Tony Robbins or Anthony Robbins, I'm going to put links down below to his website. But he's an amazing man to me. That he's somebody, but since I started listening and talking, it just turned my life around. He just pushed the right buttons, and he's not an airy fairy type of guy. And if you've watched his videos, you'll know that he's a straight talker. He shoots from the hip, but he gets straight to the point, and he's the type of guy that resonates with me. But his information that he shares to me is absolutely just fantastic. I think he's a fantastic motivationer, author, life coach, and he does the seminars and things like that. He's one person I have in my bucket list, so to speak, what I want to meet and certainly learn from him. He's been a trainer of mine, and he doesn't even know me. He's never met me. I've listened to so many of his audios, I've bought so many of his books, and I'm constantly listening to his message. And he is one of the main players who's got me to where I am now and focus. And I used him to get leverage, to get away from drugs and get away from alcohol and smoking and changing my diet around. So Tony Robbins would be one of mine. Another guy would be Les Brown. Now, I've recently came across Les Brown, possibly about a year and a half, 2 years ago. He done a video on YouTube and called "It's Not Over Until You Win." And it was just an amazing, just as I watched it, I think it's about a 35-minute video, and I'll put the links down below to that also. And when I heard Les talking, and he spoke about where he came from, he was an adopted kid, and he was they actually diagnosed him, misdiagnosed him to make him like mentally, retarded type thing, in school to put him back in class, and he was trying to keep the guy down. But he came involved with a teacher. A teacher gave him encouragement to not let people judge him. And Les's journey till currently now, he's one of the major, in fact I think he probably is one of the most successful keynote speakers in the world. I'm going to put links, as I say, down below to Les Brown. But Les Brown, I constantly listen to him now. For the past year and a half, I've been digesting so much of his information, so much of his lessons. And it's just so much free stuff there online, guys. And this is where social media comes into it. There's so much, especially YouTube, so much free content out there. We may not be able to be in a position to go and visit these guys personally, but the wealth of information is there. You can soak up that energy, you can soak up that knowledge and taking it all in and start to change your life today. But Les Brown would be one person I would certainly say to you to go and check and see. Another hero of mine would be Wayne Dyer. Not too sure if you're familiar with Wayne Dyer. The other two boys would be more into you know, the not necessarily the financial end of it, the business side of it, because they're also talking about changing your life in all aspects, but they're not too spiritual in the context where Wayne Dyer would be more on a spiritual basis, because I believe you have to walk in the mind, body and spirit. And Wayne Dyer would be a hero of mine, because they say his journey the whole way through his life, Wayne Dyer is a successful author, I think it's about 40 books that he has written, all about mind, body and spirit. Definitely keynote speaker, very humorous man, speaks from the heart, and you could just tell that he has, you know, he's lived a life of probably challenges that he's never let affect him, let's put it that way. He's never reflected out, but you could tell he's lived his life, and he has also had so many synchronistic events happen that he's aware that there's a spiritual dimension that we're all connected to. So I love Wayne Dyer's audio books and books and CDs, empowerment, and once again you can check them all down below. I'm going to put the link. So what I want you to do is have a look at yourself and see who you're inspired, who's your heroes. Check and see if your heroes are there to empower, to inspire you, to get you to be the best version of yourself. And if you haven't got any heroes in your life, doesn't matter whether family members, doesn't matter, you can have as many as you want. Don't try to look at all sections of their life, because none of us are perfect. Nobody is. And don't be ruling out these people because you might look at them and go, well, no, I don't particularly want that. Give them a chance, or you might, and somebody might come to you, they say when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And I've found that to be the truth throughout my life. You know what I mean? When I first found the most important one at the very start was Tony Robbins. His energy and my energy be very, very similar. I like to think we're very strong people, but you can tell that Tony would be a very, you know, no messing about type of guy. I needed him in my life at that time to help me kick the drugs, to give me the information, start changing things around. A life of alcohol abuse, drug abuse from his 12 years of age, smoking, drinking from that age also. But whenever I got introduced to Tony Robbins, that changed my whole viewpoint on how I not only seen myself, but seen the world around me, and it changed. So without a doubt, I would say that Tony, along with all the other teachers, was the one who got me on the straight and narrow with his no messing about attitude. Loads have came since. Les Brown came about 1.5 years ago. Wayne Dyer has been in my life about 3 years. Eckhart Tolle, so many. But I want to just get you looking at them 3 and have a look at your own. And if you haven't got any, sit down and start going through and look at people who you want to empower and inspire you. Look at your role models. You might have had role models in your life that were actually holding you back and actually creating a negative vibration. I know I certainly in my past, my role models had to be people that I seen around me who were probably drinking and doing drugs, and I tried to aspire to be them as that kid. Do you know what I mean? So we've all got role models. We're not necessarily good ones. So recheck your role models. If you haven't got them, start picking them, start to choose. And you don't have to be them ones, but what you can do, you can turn around and say, I admire and I aspire to be that type of person. I like Tony Robbins' energy. I love the way he helps people, so I want to do. Les Brown's the exact same. Wayne Dyer's the exact same, and I can go on and go on. Guys, listen, thank you very much for watching. If you haven't already done so, please do subscribe. I love to hear your comments and things like that. If you want me to talk about anything on these videos, please let me know. And as I say, you know, we don't know what tomorrow's going to bring, but we certainly know what today is going to be bringing at this moment in time. So choose what you watch, choose what you listen, and choose who you surround yourself with, because say you've genuinely got greatness within you. That's one of Les Brown's quotes. And as I say, tell you that, just know that I'm sending you love from Ireland. See you later, guys.